So what happens when an ancient, mystical path to enlightenment smashes right into a modern rationalist rebellion against society itself? Today, we're diving into a fascinating clash of ideas that didn't just shape a culture, it continues to echo in the lives of millions.
All right, so here's our game plan. We'll kick things off with the ancient Siddhas, then follow their philosophy's journey all the way to Malaysia. After that, we'll introduce the revolutionary figure who came along and challenged everything. This is going to set the stage for a massive clash of worldviews, a conflict whose legacy you'll see is still very much alive today.
We're going to start in a world of mystery and myth with the Tamil Siddhas. Now, these are spiritual masters who are, well, let's just say they're almost impossible to pin down with a simple date in a history book.
Yeah, according to their followers, the Siddhas exist completely outside of normal linear time. In fact, a lot of people believe many of them are still alive today. So their history isn't really a series of facts and dates, it's more like this incredible living tapestry of legends, miracles, and some really deep esoteric knowledge.
So you might be asking, what exactly is a Siddha? Well, the term refers to a perfected master, someone who has reached the absolute peak of spiritual enlightenment. And they do this through some really complex practices like Tantra and Kundalini Yoga. The ultimate goal here is a state of liberation called Samadhi, a level that's considered equivalent to God.
The whole tradition really centers on this core group of 18 primary Siddhars. And these are legendary figures. I mean, truly revered for their profound wisdom, their knowledge of things like alchemy, and some absolutely incredible spiritual powers.
But, this ancient philosophy didn't just stay put in South India. No way. It traveled along with the Tamil diaspora and found some really fertile new ground over in Malaysia.
And you gotta ask, why did this tradition take hold so strongly there? Well, it makes a ton of sense when you look at the community. The ethnic Indian population in Malaysia is overwhelmingly Tamil, and with nearly 90% practicing Hinduism, you've got this deeply receptive community, just ready for Siddha teachings to blossom.
And this isn't some dusty, ancient belief we're talking about. It's a living, breathing tradition that's actually had a massive resurgence, what some people are calling a golden era. And guess what's behind it? Modern media. Popular TV megaserials have brought the stories and philosophies of the Siddhas to a whole new generation.
But right as this mystical tradition was getting this new lease on life, a powerful and radically different worldview was also taking root, and it was championed by one of the 20th century's most formidable social reformers.
Meet Periyar E.V. Ramasamy. And let's be clear, his ideas weren't just about reform, they were a full-blown revolution. This single quote just captures the uncompromising fire of his mission perfectly. He wanted to systematically dismantle every single pillar, God, religion, the whole socio-political establishment that he believed was holding up an oppressive and unequal society. And his fight wasn't some abstract academic thing. It was born from the raw personal pain of caste discrimination. I mean, can you imagine being a child and getting denied a simple drink of water because you're caste? That experience fueled a lifelong battle against the religious and social structures that would justify that kind of inhumanity.
And so the stage is set for a head-on collision. You've got two completely opposite worldviews, two totally different ways of understanding truth and even defining the very purpose of human life.
So first, where does knowledge even come from? For the Siddhas, true wisdom is mystical. It's revealed from within, through deep spiritual practice. For Periyar, there was only one path to truth, reason. If an idea couldn't stand up to logical, scientific scrutiny, it wasn't just worthless, he thought it was dangerous.
And their views on the divine couldn't be more different. The Siddha tradition is woven into this rich spiritual landscape of gods and goddesses. Periyar, on the other hand, saw deities as nothing more than inventions, tools, really, created by a priestly class to control and exploit the masses, promising them rewards in another life for suffering through this one.
So ultimately, their goals were just worlds apart. The Siddha path was this inward, personal quest for spiritual transcendence. Periyar's mission was entirely outward and social, to liberate society right here on Earth from the very real chains of caste, superstition, and inequality. It was really a battle of the soul versus society.
And Periyar's method of critique was just as radical as his message. He didn't just disagree with religious stories, he actively deconstructed them. He'd retell these sacred myths in blunt, biological, and often shocking language to expose what he saw as their inherent absurdity and immorality.
But Periyar wasn't just about tearing things down. He had a radical blueprint for building a completely new type of society, one founded on a very powerful principle: self-respect.
His self-respect movement had a clear, actionable agenda. It aimed to completely destroy the caste system, especially that degraded Sudra status that was imposed on millions. It championed women's liberation, demanding education, property rights, freedom and marriage, and it fought for social justice with concrete policies, like proportional representation in government jobs for everybody.
So, after this monumental clash of mysticism and rationalism, which side won? Well, the answer is neither. And that's exactly what makes this story so compelling. What we see today is this fascinating cultural landscape where both of these powerful currents are just flowing side by side. The deep, mystical devotion to the Siddhas is alive and well, actually thriving in the age of mass media. And at the same time, Periyar's legacy of rationalism, social justice, and that fierce critique of tradition, it remains a vital force in politics and society, influencing how people vote, protest, and demand their rights.
And that leaves us with a final thought. This conflict between the Siddhas and Periyar isn't just some historical event. It's a living tension that continues to shape identity, forcing this constant negotiation between faith and reason, the spiritual and the social. It makes us ask, when tradition and revolution collide, what is saved, what is destroyed, and what is created anew?